Welcome back to Real Business Roundtable. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please like, subscribe, share with family, friends, do all that good stuff. Today we don't have Andy with us. We actually have Jay again for the second episode.
How's it going?
And today we're going to talk about SEO. We're going to talk about, I don't really know. I know about SEO, right? I know enough to be dangerous, but I don't know as much as you do. Obviously, you've been doing it for a while. If you want to kind of, talk about how you started it and, how it always changes, kind of get into that type of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been doing search engine optimization since at least 1999, like around there. I was managing a website for an automobile club, doing that, and then also creating all sorts of different pages on technical subjects. And, I learned from there kind of firsthand how to get things to show up on the first page of search. And that's where I was able to really refine things. But things were really different back then because not a lot of people knew what to do, but it was also a lot more simple.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, I was going to say, from what I know, it seemed like back then, things were way more simple. It wasn't as, detail oriented or like deep down backlinks, all that crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it pretty much started out and, you'd do title tags and you could also do alt tags on images and things like that. But it was really all about like the text on the site, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of like black hat strategies started to come about, where people figured out you could put a ton of text on a page back then and then black it out
to make it the same color as the page.
You couldn't see it on the page, but it would have all this content about that particular topic on there. And there were tons of people doing that back then. Then Google ended up figuring out all these different ways people were basically cheating the system, and they would change the algorithm and update it. And they just continuously have done that since then, changing things. So another really great example would be with link building. They always looked at who's linking to you and things like that. But one strategy that is completely outdated now would be reciprocal links. So back in the day when you had an HTML website, just a real simple website, you'd always have like a links page on there, and there would always be people emailing you to, hey, let's trade links. Put a banner for my website on yours, and we'll put.
I feel like people still do that occasionally.
So they caught on to the fact that people were doing this to manipulate their rankings. So anytime that you have a reciprocal link, it basically cancels out. No link juice is carried over from one website to the other at that point.
Yeah.
So that kind of became an old hat thing. And then another big thing became directory listings. And when I still hear people like selling that, I'm sorry if there's somebody watching this that sells that as a service, but that's very outdated as well. Google caught up with that too. Submitting your name to 1,000 directories now is just, it's stupid.
Yeah.
What you really want is a quality website that has authority with the search engines linked back to you. That's going to carry the most weight now.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, what Google is looking at is the fact that you're bringing value to whoever's doing the search.
Yeah.
So if you have valuable info, you have a blog, and you're talking about the latest things in the industry, or just anything, you're answering questions about something, whether it be you're selling a dishwasher, let's say, you could talk about different topics like is this dishwasher repairable? Or is
whatever it may be,
or is the bottom seal going to give out on this dishwasher in 4 years? Can you get a new one?
Hello, how are
is
you?
it cheaper to buy a new one
Please
versus fix it and things like that? So it's all about providing quality content and
educational content,
then organizing it in a way that makes sense to the search engines. But you can label a piece of crap but at the end of the day, if it's not quality or value that you're providing somebody, you're not going to do well in the search engine. So you really want to be the authority in what you do, provide quality content, and then regularly update that content. And that's why blogs are so
Really
important.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh, so from what I know, it seems like SEO is the type of thing. It's not just one time and done. Obviously not. It's a one time and done. It's always changing. You can always build up on SEO. How do those changes happen? So from what you said before, people would do something, Google would notice it and recognize it, and they would change their algorithm so that what they're doing, which is kind of like a cutting corner, it's not acceptable by them. Is that how it always changes, or are they just adding rules and regulations and stuff like that?
Well, I think that what ends up happening is they're figuring out people learned how to manipulate it, and then at that point, they'll just make changes. So for a while, there was this whole thing, what will happen if I something turtle?
Yeah.
And they were figuring out, because Google added this new thing at one point where it would fill in what you were searching without typing out the whole thing. So people figured out how to manipulate that, and that became a big joke. And then they kind of got away from that. The other interesting thing, so when Google purchased YouTube, they suddenly favored all these YouTube videos and everything over like all the other video sites that existed at that point, like Dailymotion and God, there were
Vimeo, whatever. Yeah,
there were hundreds of video sites.
Yeah.
But even prior to them taking over YouTube, you could manipulate the search results where you could use software called TubeMogul and take a video and it would distribute it to like 30 to like 40 different video sites, and you could tag this video for any keyword imaginable, even really difficult stuff. And that video thumbnail would be on the first page of search, not only on the first page, but every single result on that first page from a different video site.
Wow.
So there were no other results other than that video stuff. They caught on to that pretty quick.
Yeah. How long did that last for? That's like powerful.
Yeah, so that lasted probably about 8 to 12 months before they caught on.
Holy
and they
shit.
changed that.
But
what really sealed the fate of that was the purchase of YouTube, because suddenly they just favored YouTube in the search results.
Yeah.
So that's how that happened.
So yeah, they're constantly adding rules and regulations. How does someone watching, or like anyone really, how do you stay on top of that stuff? Is it like is it like articles that you can read, forums that you can read? Like, how do you stay on top of those changes?
Yeah, so there's a couple different things that you should be doing if like you're interested in learning search engine optimization. Number one, start out with a real simple book about on-page optimization. That's going to give you the foundation that you need. But then you're going to need the hands-on experience, because they're not telling you everything. And even these industry experts out there and things like that,
They're not going to give away the secrets.
No, and the truth of the matter is Google doesn't give you a playbook telling you exactly
That's why
what
it's so
works
interesting.
and what doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's trial and error. And a good SEO guy will have a network of his own websites that they're going to set up and test different things on to see how their changes affect these websites before you go do it for a client. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
But, all of these different changes, like for a while, they were sandboxing websites that would do, black hat practices like that hidden text, like I said, or even having let's say a website had bad links to it, that could actually get you pulled off of the search engines. Well, what ended up happening as a result of that was an entire industry was born for a while of negative SEO, meaning that you could hire somebody like me to go and attack your competitor's website and put a bunch of gambling websites linked to it, things like that, and basically get them removed from the search engines. Google realized this pretty quickly, and they ended up pulling the plug on that. So now it's only paid, like certain pages can get pulled off the search engines and stuff like that, because they realized they created a whole industry of black hat SEO and negative SEO.
That's wild. I didn't even know about that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
One thing that I definitely want to, so in a past episode, we talked about, Andy, he sees these videos and he sees these people talking about how SEO is dead, right? They seem to think that SEO is dead. and I feel like you have a lot to say about that. I want to kind of talk about, like kind of why SEO is so important for a business. And I think, for us it may be obvious, but for people watching, it's important. People don't do it, and I think people need to understand why it's important and how you can kind of get started on your own, maybe. Yeah, if you want to build off of that.
Yeah, but essentially, I've been doing this for over 17 plus years, or however long it's been. I've kind of lost count. But it's the lifeblood of your business. Like, you need to be found online.
Because everyone's using Google.
Yeah,
everyone.
Everybody's using the search engines. Not everybody knows who you are. So if somebody's searching for a particular thing, like hot dogs or hot dog cart, or, to use that analogy, people aren't going to know about like Jake's hot dogs.
Yeah.
Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But you want to get in front of the people that have never heard of Jake's hot dogs, to get them there to try it, because that's going to help bring in more business at the end of the day. It's interesting, though. I enjoy working with clients that don't have an online presence at all, because those are the ones that actually see the biggest impact of what we can do for them, because it's just a clean canvas at that point.
Yeah.
I can go in, I can do the on-page optimization. We can every single month do some link building and some blogging for them, and their results, they'll go from not showing up for any keywords to being on the first page, like sometimes. Not all results are typical, and it depends on the keywords.
Yeah.
But, we've seen amazing things for some customers.
No, yeah, that's awesome. But I guess the one thing that I want to, what is it called? Like make, like the one thing that I want to, not exaggerate. What's that word? Like, I can't
embellish.
Maybe, yeah. Well, make obvious. I mean, SEO is for visibility. We always talk about how sales, and you just mentioned, this stuff is the lifeblood of your business. If you don't have visibility, then you don't have anyone to market to. If you don't have visibility, then no one's going to buy your product. There's people out there who say SEO is dead and this and that. It's like, the day that everyone stops using search engines, then I'll agree with them. But everyone uses Google. Google, is everywhere. There's smart home devices that are made by Google. Eventually there's phones and cars, and it's never going to end. So, whenever someone says that, it just doesn't really make any sense at all.
Well, it absolutely doesn't. And actually, it's a tagline that gets your attention.
That's literally all it is.
But at the end of the day, it's no different than, like, let's say you take all your contacts in your phone and you erase their names. Geez, you know, how would you get by like that?
Yeah.
Search engine optimization is like organizing that, or like organizing a file cabinet.
Yeah.
Everything needs to be tagged and titled the right way. Otherwise, it's a mess.
Yeah. And
it's not going to show up.
Yeah. And when you say that, so once you organize these things and when you title things properly on-page optimization, there's a thing that Google does. It's indexing. And I think that's the part that people don't know about. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Just like how it indexes your page and, the organization aspect of your website. Just maybe there's some business owner out there, I don't know, you're watching and you have a website and you want to know what you can do, the basics of on-page SEO, I guess.
So I can give a real simple rundown of on-page optimization. So one of the first things that you're going to look at is your meta content. Meta is just stuff that is in the code of the website, and it's a way of organizing it. So the first meta tag that you have is your meta title. Mm-hmm. So you want to make sure that, whatever page that is relevant on the meta title to the content on the site.
Yeah.
So again, using the hot dog analogy, you want to make sure that it says like quality hot dogs in Nashua, New Hampshire, or something like that.
Yeah.
That's what you want to show up for. Then you want to make sure that the meta description is that little blurb below the actual clickable link in Google. You want to make sure that that's mentioning hot dogs and Nashua, things like that. And then there also is a meta field for keywords, and a lot of people tend to fill that out with a ridiculous amount of keywords. Google has even admitted that they don't look at that anymore. So I just leave that blank now. And it's funny because there's a lot of dinosaurs out there that follow the old formula of, no, you need to put in these meta keywords in there. And the reality is, it's like you're a dinosaur. You didn't keep up with the changes.
Yeah.
They're not looking at that anymore. And that could actually impact how that's showing up in search. And then you need to make sure that the page content is relevant to the keywords that you're going after in your meta description, your meta title, and that also your images. Real simple. You can, instead of naming an image img5107.jpg, you could call it hot dog stand Nashua NH.
And when you name it that allows it to show up on Google Images, or is that
Yep. So that's another thing that's kind of evolved over time.
Yeah.
Google added in, the image search. They added in localization also
on images.
Not on images. So in regular search. So Before it was just text results.
Yeah.
But now, especially with restaurants, it's really important to show up on the local
Google
results,
Maps.
the maps.
Yeah.
You need to show up on there. But there's other, checks and balances that you need to follow for that as well. But it's important that you show up on all this. You want to show up when somebody searches images. You want to show up in the text results, because you might have somebody that is planning, let's say somebody's planning on staying in Nashua. I don't know why, but they're looking into hot dogs.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you also show up in the regular text results, because if they're searching from somewhere that's too far away from your localization bubble, they're not going to see that result.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to show up in every single opportunity that you can get.
Yeah. No, that's, I don't know why, but that made me think of food trucks. I know that's you keep saying hot dogs, but I've been noticing recently, and I don't know if I'm the only one, but food trucks are becoming more and more popular, and they're almost demolishing online presence for these restaurants. They're as long as you're doing social media and all this stuff and SEO, whatever you're doing, good. But I've been noticing these food trucks, these prominent food trucks who pop around New England, whatever, they may be in Nashua, they may be in Burlington. They've been just demolishing. I'll look up. I've noticed this recently. I'll do a search on a certain type of food, and I'll notice recently that when I search up, I don't know, barbecue or whatever's popular with stands, that they'll pop up more often, and they're becoming more and more of a presence. And I honestly think that a lot of the success to those food trucks are because of SEO and because they're doing so well on Google Local and stuff like that. It's really interesting.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, a business can purely run off of SEO. It can, because of the amount of people that run Google. So, I think that this was, is there anything else that you want to add on to that?
I just wanted to say, obviously I'm biased. I think this is one of the biggest things for your business.
Yeah.
But I also do believe in the other, strategies.
Forms, of course.
Of
course.
You can't just do one thing. I've seen people that solely rely on referrals, which,
it depends on what industry, but it doesn't really.
Yeah, but at the same
no
side
scale.
of the coin, some of these industries, how many repeat customers will you have?
Yeah.
Or something like that. So
you can't scale you can't really scale that type of business.
You can't. But you want to have, I like to say, multiple fishing lines in the water.
Yeah.
You got to have your online stuff tight. Mm-hmm. If you're doing mail marketing, whatever.
Yeah.
But, make sure that that's a strategy that you're employing, if that works in your industry, to have coupons and things like that.
Yeah.
But I'm more biased to, the digital thing.
Of course.
I think that's the most bang for your buck for a business. And I've seen a lot of successes over the years doing this, and seeing small companies grow into this, these monstrous businesses as a result of internet marketing.
When we're talking about all this stuff, we're not trying to, you'll see SEO is dead online. You'll see all this stuff, all these different clickbaity stuff online, and majority of the time you click into it, you go into it, and they're trying to sell you a course on something, and most of the time they got there through SEO and ads. And I think to build on your point, it's really important to have an omni-channel approach online. With your digital presence, it's the most important sales driving aspect of your business, other than the people within your business that are pushing the sales. It's so important. And, I think that this is something that people need to learn so that it doesn't fizzle out, because it is so important for your business. Is there anything you would like to add before we close it out?
Just one thing I wanted to add to earlier in the topic. So you said, where can you learn about that? Obviously, the books. There are online forums where you can talk with other SEO people in the industry. So search around, find those, and network with other people in the industry. Most people are kind of happy to talk about what worked for them, what didn't work.
Yeah.
They're not going to spill a lot of sauce on stuff like link building.
But starting from zero, that could be a huge resource.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Real Business Roundtable. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please like, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you get notified every time we post a new episode. Also, check us out on Instagram for clips, updates, and SEO is not dead. Peace out.
Take care.